See one thumbs up. See two thumbs up. Okay, we are going to come back from recess and we will move on now to Department of Finance award a construction service agreement for the Sealston Convenience Center concrete pad replacement. Ms. Hahn.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. This project, the Sealston's Convenience Center concrete pad replacement, was approved in fiscal year 23-24 CIP at $75,000. Procurement issued IFB 0905-2023-1400 on August 11, 2023, soliciting bids for a firm fixed price to remove and replace a 70-foot by 25-foot section of the concrete pad at the metal disposal area at the Sealston Convenience Center. Included in this project is the repair of 8 damaged wall sections. Bids were opened on September 11th, 2023. The lowest responsible bidder was U.S. Construction Corp. A project budget should be established as construction $45,000, inspections of the concrete work at $5,000, and put the rest of the funds into contingency, $25,000, just in case of anything that might be under that concrete pad that was built many years ago. The bid tab that was in your board packet was incorrect, and I believe that Ms. Fish gave you the correct one. I inadvertently attached a Word Excel worksheet instead of the PDF that had the all the different bids that we received. With that, I recommend that you authorize the county administrator to take the following actions. Issue a notice of award to U.S. Construction Corp. In the amount of $45,000. Authorize the execution of a construction services agreement with U.S. Construction Corp. In the amount of $45,000, subject to approval as to form by the county attorney, and to establish the project budget as presented.
Do we have any questions from Ms. Hahn? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, authorize the county administrator to take the following actions. Issue a notice of award to U.S. Construction Corp. In the amount of $45,000. And authorize a execution of a construction service agreement with U.S. Construction Corp. In the amount of $45,000, subject to approval as to the form by the county attorney, and then also establish the project budget as presented.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hahn. Ms. Hahn. Sorry, I was trying to get back to my agenda.
On July 27th, 2023, staff completed the submission requesting the second half of the LATCF, the Local Assistance and Tribal Consistency Fund, funds in the amount of $50,000. These funds were received by the county on August 18th, 2023. Staff recommends that funds be accepted and the budget be set as follows. When we received the first half, we established the revenue line of 3/160-241-005-1105, and to put $50,000 there. And the expenditure side, at this time, we have a project line that was set up for 160-0919-005899 to put the $50,000 there for projects to be considered at a later date. So I recommend that you authorize the county administrator to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget in the $50,000 in funds that were received from the LATCF and appropriate the funds as presented.
Do we have any questions for Ms. Hahn? I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I have a motion to authorize the county administrator to amend the FY 2023-2024 budget for the $50,000 funds received from the LATCF and to appropriate the funds as presented.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hahn. We have Chief. About the ambulance.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. As you may recall, at one of your previous meetings, I provided a presentation to you that came with some recommended changes to our ambulance fee for service ordinance and also the rules and regulations. You should have a copy in your packet that shows the changes to the ordinance itself. I've been working with Ms. Lackey and making some of those changes. Essentially, the proposed changes include text amendments, and most notably, it will include an increase in the treatment and transportation fees, add a consumable fee based on the usage and revised language on billing restrictions for uninsured county residents. I do want to highlight and note that there will be no changes in the compassionate billing policy. And then also this proposed change provides amendments to change the ordinance location from section 6.5 to 6.4, as this is the most appropriate code section. The recommended action is to authorize the county administrator to advertise a notice of public hearing to revise the ambulance fee for service ordinance, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I authorize the county administrator to advertise a notice of public hearing to revise the ambulance fee for service ordinance.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. And Chief, I believe you got one more for us.
Yep, and the next item is kind of a good segue into from the previous item, is to award a goods and services agreement and for the purchase of a replacement ambulance. So this is for this fiscal year, FY24, that was approved back in July for FY24 CIP. We got proposals for the same specifications to replacement ambulance, and the price came in at $374,680. The recommended action that we are seeking is to issue authorize county administrator to take the following actions, and that's to issue a notice of award to FESCO Emergency Sales in the amount of $374,680, to transfer the $24,680 from the capital projects construction to emergency services capital replacement vehicles, and to authorize the execution of a goods and services agreement with FESCO Emergency Sales for the purchase of a Horton Model 603F ambulance mounted on a 2024 Dodge Ram 5500 4x4 cab and chassis in the amount of $374,680, subject to approval as to form by the county attorney. Happy to answer additional questions that you may have.
Do we have any questions for Chief?
If I may, Mr. Chair, just one additional observation about this is that the proposed contract is through a cooperative procurement that expired on September 30th. They're in the process, they think, of getting an extension. So I just wanted to note that my approval will be conditioned, of course, on the extension of that contract. We have to have a valid underlying contract. The chief knows that as well, but I just wanted to explain if for some reason there's a problem, I wanted you all to know why.
So if that did not get extended, then that would come back to the board for some action.
Correct. We'd have to find another source.
Understood. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lackey, for that clarification. Do we have any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the county administrator to take the following actions. Issue a notice of award to FESCO Emergency Sales in the amount of $378,680.
That can't be right.
$374,680. And to transfer $24,680 from the capital projects construction to the emergency service capital replacement of vehicles. Also authorize the execution of goods and service agreement with FESCO Emergency Service Sales for the purchase of a Horton Model 603F ambulance mounted on a 2024 Dodge Ram 5500 4x4 cab and chassis in the amount of $374,680, subject to approval as by form by the county attorney.
Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion? So this is the issue's notice of award for the dollar amount was the same as in the authorized the execution, which is $374,680. Just to say it one more time, just to make sure you got capture it. I know there's a little blip in our packet. So all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
We have a discussion item. So this is dealing with the Rollins parcel, which happens to be right outside of the Revercombe building. Right over there. Thank you. Frame of reference. Thank you, Ms. Binder. And so Ms. Kupka brought this and asked to have this as a discussion item. So I'll ask Ms. Kupka if she has anything in particular she would like to share about this, and then we can move forward with discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for agreeing to place this on the agenda for discussion this evening. So I was contacted by members of the Rollins family regarding this very small parcel that does abut the library parcel, which is also county owned. Mr. Rollins did not feel while he served as a county employee that it would be appropriate for him to bring such a question to the Board of Supervisors. However, he is now passed and the family is in the process of finalizing his estate. And so they inquired to me as to whether the board might be interested in acquiring this parcel. I did not enter into any negotiations whatsoever. I said that I would bring it to the board to see what the board's temperature was, whether we wanted our counsel to reach out to them to see if they had any suggested terms. Thank you.
So it's a really bizarre little piece of property that is surrounded by county property. I think it would make sense to try to bring it in and have it all be contiguous county property. So I would be in favor of trying to reach out and see what terms they might be interested in.
I'm not disagreeing because during election time,
It can be,
it can be.
I'd like to buy that property myself. I've always wanted to buy it.
Mr. Stonehill, do you have any, you're amenable? Okay, so then request, based on Ms. Kupka's recommendation, of request legal counsel to reach out and I guess initiate discussion. Okay,
Thank you all.
thank you, Ms. Kupka.
So you're going to vote on that?
There was, Ms. Lackey, do we need a vote on that, or is it just consensus to direct staff?
Consensus for direction is fine. I'll have to bring back any terms if we get some hammered out to you all.
Correct.
So I'm going to enter in negotiations too. So that's why I was asking for a motion so I could say nay. I didn't know it was available for sale.
Do we need a motion or not?
I move to direct the county attorney to engage the Rollins family regarding possible county acquisition of the property in question.
I'll second it.
We have a motion properly second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey,
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Okay. We'll move on to County Administrator's report.
So I'll be very brief. The couple items there on, let's go down to the easier ones. So your next meeting obviously is the 17th. And then of course it's election day and the offices will be closed. So your next meeting is in November. Your only meeting in November is scheduled meeting is the 14th of November, and it'll be regular time, 6:30. So you all received an email from me last week that included Mr. Pancotti's resignation effective October 27th as the interim community development director and also, unfortunately, as the zoning administrator. Mr. Pancotti, as I indicated in my memo to you all, or my email to you all, is going to the town of Culpeper. We wish him luck. We are obviously now scrambling a little bit. One, we want to get the interim director stabilized. And that is, we are looking, I'll be very honest with you, we now are probably in a position where, because of the zoning administrator having to be certified, we are probably going to have to look at a third party for a certain period of time, some kind of a consultant that would serve in a role. So myself and Mr. Messler are having meetings with some of the private planning firms, if you will, to get scope of services, and our goal will be to have an action item. My goal, I mean, you have to have it actually, unless you're going to call a special meeting before the end of October, at the next meeting on the 17th. So I'll be reaching out to you all and letting you know where we go. We hope that we'll get the information on the for a possible third party. I do think that you need to settle in on that. On the zoning administrator, you will need a third party for a period of time. But the interim community development director, we may still have some options, and so we're going to try to work through some things on that. I'm sorry to report that. Mr. Messler did indicate that he in the process, since we've had it opened since the end of July, I think we have maybe 5, or is it 2? We had some others but they had qualified applications, so only 2. And I think Stafford is open right now, planning commissioner. Prince William planning directors positions are open. It's not an easy task, and I know Derek has talked to a number of people in the state about where are we on some things, and they indicated that it's just good luck right now. It's a hard ask right now to find some people. We did have some people that had international experience. I don't know what that means. So, but we do have some applicants that we can look at. But as I said, my plan is to bring you some action plan at the next meeting, and I'll be reaching out to you all to discuss where we are on things before the 17th. I'll answer any questions.
Any questions from Mr. Miller?
I just have one.
Go for it.
The preschool study, have we gotten that back from Mosley, the updated one?
No, we've not, and I will reach out to Mr. Bell and Mr. Housley from Mosley and ask where they are. We were supposed to get that at the end of the month, so of September. So I'll reach out and find out where we are.
That's why I asked. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I know we had a closed session that we had suspended, but I'll entertain a motion to move back in.
Mr. Chair, I move that the King George County Board of Supervisors reconvene in closed session for discussion of a proposed local incentive package for a major economic development project pursuant to the following authorities. 1, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A6 for discussion and consideration of investment of public funds where competition or bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, excuse me, the financial interest of the county would be affected. 2, Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A39 for discussion of information subject to the exclusion by Virginia Code Section 2.2-3705.63 for economic development arising from proprietary business information provided pursuant to a promise of confidentiality and or working papers or other information related to negotiation and bargaining concerning business siting or expansion for which disclosure would adversely affect the financial interests of the county. And 3, Virginia Code Section 2.2-37118 for discussion of specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice. I invite the county administrator and the county attorney because they are deemed necessary and/or their presence will reasonably aid the board in its consideration of one or more of the topics to be discussed pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3712F.
Second.
We have a motion probably second. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Hey.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. We're in closed session.
I move that the King George County Board of Supervisors return to public meeting and certify by vote that only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law, and only such public business matters that were identified in the motion convening the closed meetings were heard, discussed, or considered during the closed meeting, with the following exception. Alan Parker, the chairman of the Service Authority, was included in the initial discussions with the representatives of the development prospect, particularly with regard to possible negotiations of additional water services infrastructure. When it was mentioned that two other members of the Service Authority were present, although in their capacities as supervisors, Mr. Parker was immediately excluded from the meeting. There was no deviation from the substance of matters stated in the motion to convene closed meeting, and internal discussions about the proposed local incentive package was after Mr. Parker was excused from the meeting.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion properly seconded. We will vote by roll call. Ms. Bender?
So certify.
Mr. Collins?
I don't certify.
Ms. Skupka?
So certify.
Mr. Stonehill?
So certify.
Chair certifies we're back in open session. I will entertain a motion.
I move to adjourn till Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 6:30 PM here in the boardroom.
Second.
A motion properly seconded. Do we have any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned.